Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called The Dumbest Questions I've Been Asked by Americans Ask a German series part 5, Feli from Germany. This is from a channel called Feli from Germany, so check it out. I think I'm scared of what the dumb questions are going to be because I think people can ask a lot of stupid things. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
You know when people say that there are no dumb questions? I actually say that myself a lot. Well, turns out sometimes there are.
They are, yes. Coming from a place of ignorance, usually.
Hallo, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. So for the fifth and last video of my Ask a German mini-series, I'm gonna answer this question that a lot of you guys also voted for in the poll. What's the most annoying question you get asked by Americans? Which reminded me of this TikTok trend from a couple months ago where people from all over the world talked about the dumbest question an American had asked them.
There's maybe like 10 of us all trying to explain to this American couple why they probably don't have fireworks for the 4th of July in Marrakesh, Morocco.
And I said I've never really been more than a city kid. Like I've always been either near or in a city. And she asked me, weren't you born in Peru? And I was like, yes. She goes, wait, I don't understand. Like, how are you in a city in Peru?
And then he said, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, it's not pronounced Algeria, it's pronounced Argentina. I had to explain to him that I came from an actual country called Algeria.
So I decided that I'll be sharing both with you. The most annoying and the dumbest questions I've...
This, I can already tell because I just mentioned that a lot of these things, like, they come from a place of ignorance, which absolutely it is true. Although sometimes it's just like, it reminds me of it's not always, not all Americans, because obviously you can't, it's not everything. It's the same for everyone. However, it's somehow always an American, so.
I've been asked by Americans. Okay. And of course, no offense to anyone who has asked me these things before. As I said in this video, I usually don't think that any questions are stupid, especially when it's about cultural differences.
I mean, sure, again, if it's coming from a place of, like, wanting to learn, no questions are stupid. But sometimes you just know, like, what on earth? That's not coming from a place of, I want to learn more about your culture.
And those kinds of things. But that doesn't mean that there aren't moments where I think to myself, wow, seriously? Still, please just take it with a grain of salt. Let's start with the dumbest questions I've been asked by Americans, and the first one is this one. Why do we call Germany Deutschland in German? I had never been asked this question before I came to the US, and I do understand people wondering about why Germany has so many different names.
What does it mean? I mean, obviously it means land of the Dutch.
Names in different languages, but I've straight up been asked before, so why do you have a different name for your country? Why don't you just call it Germany? Or why do you call your hometown this weird other name, München, if you could just say Munich? Number 2 on my list is this one.
This is one of the things where, again, it's coming not from a place of, oh, I want to learn more. I thought they were asking her, oh, why is it called Deutschland? As in, like, what's the actual meaning? Why is that the name? Not as if, oh, why don't you call it Germany? Again, people don't know. A lot of Americans simply do not. It just doesn't even cross their minds that people have, their countries are pronounced different, or they're just outright named something different in their own language, which is crazy.
Hi, I'm Felicia. I'm from Germany. Wow, that's so cool. Like, have you lived in Germany before? Yeah, I was born and raised there. I didn't even come to the US until I was 22, after I got my bachelor's degree. So, do you speak German? Which language do people think one speaks when they're born and raised in Germany? Sometimes the conversation even goes on a little. Yeah, of course I do. Like, fluently? Yeah, it's my native language. Like, my whole family is German. And guys, I've probably had this conversation 10 to 20 times in the US, so it's not one of those once-in-a-lifetime situations. I actually just had it again this past weekend. Before I share the next question on my list, I want to introduce today's sponsor, which is a platform that I wish I knew about when I still went to university, Studoku. It was created by students for students and gives you access to what everyone who's ever attended a university was wishing for during exam season: millions of student student-created lecture notes, study guides, and book summaries. This can save you so many hours when studying, because you won't have to read that entire book or feel insecure because you only skimmed it, and you won't have to spend all that time on creating your own summary for the whole semester. And the best thing is that you can profit off it the other way too, because if you share your notes that you took in class, or maybe the summary that you've already made for previous exams, you can earn hundreds of dollars and at the same time help other students in your situation. That's such a quick and easy way to make some extra money while being a student with something that you already have anyway. And on top of that, you can also refer your friends and earn from their uploads too. If you're curious, I would recommend to just click on my link in the description box below and try Studoku yourself. Now, back to the dumbest questions I've been asked by Americans, and the next one is yet another one that I had never heard outside of the US, and I've been to about 20 different countries in total. Hey, German girl, so what's it like driving on the wrong side of the road? What do you mean? You know, since we drive on the right side of the road here, so do we in Germany. Wait, I thought you guys drive on the left side. I really don't know why so many people think this, because I'm telling you,
I think it's just because people get it confused because with the UK and people automatically believe that everyone in Europe just drives on the opposite side of the road. I'm pretty sure that's where the confusion stems from.
Even Americans that know a little more about the rest of the world than the average American have asked me this before. But guys, it's mainly the UK and former British colonies that drive.
I am pretty sure that's why people get it confused. Again, they just believe, oh, must be a European thing. It's not, no, it's just a UK particularly
on
thing.
The left side, like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, or countries in Southeast Asia like Thailand. But in Europe, we all drive on the right side, besides the British. Next up, I always find it a dumb question when I tell people that my name is Felicia, or Felicia in German, and they ask why I have an American name if I'm German. I know that's not a super dumb question, but I always find it a little ignorant. Like, so
isn't that, yeah, isn't, I mean, again, names, they exist in different, it's the same name, but it's pronounced different, or means something else. It's just a little variation depending on the language, but also, I'm pretty sure, is it that like Felicity? Like it's the same thing,
many
right?
names are names that you'll find in all kinds of languages, like Julia, Julia, or Anna, Anna, or Peter, Peter. And Felicia has a Latin origin and shows up in all kinds of languages. Yes. That's actually one of the reasons my parents gave me this name, because they thought it might be helpful if the name exists in other languages as well. And well, they were right about that. And to get to the really, really dumb questions, we're gonna have to go back in time a little to when I came to the US for the first time at the age of 16 to participate in a high school exchange. Some of the American kids were even younger than 16 at the time, and I think it's okay that they didn't know all that much about other countries, but I was still shocked by some of these questions. I got the classics, like if all Germans are Nazis, or if Hitler is still alive, but also questions like, do you guys have refrigerators?
Even, hold on, I'm not even going to get into that, but like read a history book, and at this point, even if you're a little bit younger than 16, I'm assuming it was all high school aged, so like by 13, like you know these things, and why would you ask those, like what on earth?
Refrigerators in Germany.
Wait, I didn't got that.
But also questions like, do you guys have refrigerators in Germany?
Refrigerators. Oh, of course, because they believe the rest of the world must be living in caves. So sure, you have electricity? Oh, you have cars? Oh my god, I cannot believe that. Correct. That's the right.
Now let's get to the
That's the right face, because what are you supposed to answer to this? Do you have refrigerators? What? Like, I'm not even going to attempt to reply to that.
Most annoying questions I get asked by Americans, and the first one is more of a me thing, I think. I don't think that other Germans are annoyed by this, but when people talk about soccer around me, they often go, oh, no, sorry, you guys call it football, right? So this football player, Lionel Messi, blah, blah, blah. Or when I say soccer, people often go, wait, I thought you guys called it football. And yes, I know that some Europeans are very set on calling it football, but I always find this kind of annoying. Like, I'm speaking American English right now. Why would I call it football if that just leads to confusion in this country?
Great point. Yes, and she's like, I'm making it easier for you to understand. I'm trying to adapt to your to your culture. So you're trying to correct me? No, I know it's technically wrong, but I'm trying to be at your
I really
level.
don't care what it's called. I just want to make sure that everyone understands what we're talking about. Plus,
Exactly.
no, we don't call it football in Germany, actually. We call it Fußball. So I personally really don't care which English word I use for it. In American English, it's called soccer, so that's
whatever.
what I'll
Exactly.
say. And that's what I expect Americans to use too. Then I find it kind of annoying that I always get asked things like, wait, don't you guys drink your beer warm in Germany? No, Kyle, we don't.
What?
I've addressed this topic in seseveral videos before, though.
Why would someone want warm beer? What? I've never heard of this.
Interested. Number 3 on the list of annoying
Is that a thing? Do people love warm beer somehow? Do people believe Germans like warm beer? Or is it maybe it's a well, maybe, I don't know. But it's because Americans are used to like having, you have like a cold one. Like it's ice cold, like directly from, you can see the ice melting or the ice drops in the actual bottle. And Germans do not do this, so maybe that's why, I don't know.
questions is when Americans say something like, so how are you dealing with all of our local accents? Like, have you noticed that some people will call it pop instead of soda? That must be so confusing to you. What?
Why would it be confusing? And yes, that exists everywhere. Like, the sneakers, and what's the other place for sneakers? I can't remember the other word. Just like millions of other words that exist in different cultural variations.
What accents are you talking about? Like, yes, regional accents are a thing in the US, but compared to pretty much every other country in the world that has been around for more than 300 years, Americans literally speak the same word.
It's true. Great point, because I think in Germany, like, there are dialects, so it's, literally would be impossible to understand. And that's not even, again, too, obviously she speaks German, but I know that in Switzerland they also speak German, but there are variations to the point where I don't know if, can a German speaker from Germany understand a German speaker from Switzerland? I don't know. I think maybe you could gather a lot of things, but I don't know if you can 100% understand them. And just the same with Austria. I know that obviously they speak German, but they also have another variation. So maybe it's the pronunciation, maybe it's written. I don't know. But I would imagine there's some of them that I can gather a lot of these things, but I don't 100% understand you. Which in the US that wouldn't happen because everyone has different accents, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a different other dialect that no one understands. It's like, what are you talking about? Go outside.
Wherever you go. Like in Germany, we have over 100 dialects, and our country is smaller than Texas. Sometimes people speak a different dialect in the neighboring village with different pronunciations, different words, and different sentence structures. It's really not that crazy that there are a couple words that people use differently in different parts of the US. Given how big this country is, the amount of different accents and dialects is actually extremely low. And the same thing goes for when people say things like, you gotta know that us Americans, we use a lot of slang. We don't really speak proper English, Oh, thank you for explaining that. Yeah, other languages don't have colloquialisms and slang. And last but not least, this might sound kind of mean. I think a few of these things actually have sounded kind of mean. But I sometimes find it annoying when people ask me about how authentic the German food is at a specific restaurant here. Like, it really depends on what you mean by that, because we don't eat schnitzel and potato salad every single day in Germany. And most of what you find here is traditional Bavarian food and doesn't represent the rest of Germany at all. So the answer is that in most cases, things have been Americanized a little. So that's something that I can at least judge.
Like every other country, every other culture, and every other, it happens everywhere, because obviously you're not going to get the right ingredients. Even if you can get them, they're not going to taste the same. So yes, of course it's been it has to adapt to their own country, to the country you are in, because you want to sell to those people.
And it's also pretty easy to judge the pretzels, which aren't German at all at most places in the US. And beer cheese isn't a German thing.
Exactly, because they're an American thing. They're not necessarily the German version.
And neither is dipping your pretzels in mustard. But yeah, I personally don't love that question because it's just such a vague question to answer. And the weirdest thing is when people ask me about pseudo-German food that is actually from the US, like Geta, which is very popular here in the Cincinnati region, or sauerkraut balls, or the beer cheese dip that I just mentioned. And then people ask me how authentic that is. And I'm just like, well, I've never seen this before I came to the US. So those...
again, because they have to cater to Americans, not to
all
Germans.
the things that I could think of for these questions. The craziest response on TikTok that I've come across, and several people have shared the same story here, is about Americans being confused when a foreigner explains to them that their family is 7 hours ahead because of the time zones, and apparently the American doesn't really understand time zones, so they ask,
this is like the stupidest thing to me, because don't even get me started. The US also has regional time zones. You have Eastern, you have Pacific, and that's not even getting into Central, which is another thing that everyone uses. Well, most people use either Eastern or the Pacific, but again, you also have variations. So how is this so hard to understand?
so why didn't anyone warn us about 9/11 then if they're 7 hours ahead?
They're from the future.
People have seriously shared personal stories like that, and there are a lot more of those questions out there that you can check out. This was it with my Ask a German mini-series. If you haven't seen the other 4 videos, just check them out up here. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and activate the bell. This is where you can follow me and support my channel. And now I want to hear your stories. What is the dumbest or most annoying question that you've been asked by an American, or by another person that wasn't from the same country as you? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope that I'll see you for my next video in a few days, which is going to be a very special one that I've been working on for weeks now. So definitely activate that bell so that you don't miss out on it, and I hope I'll see you then. Tschüss!
Okay, she was mentioning how, she was like, oh, this is a little mean. I think she wasn't mean enough. To me, like, there's a lot of these questions that are just, some of them could be, no, all of them. I think all of these were just so incredibly stupid. I'm sorry, I know she prefaced this by saying, like, there are no dumb questions, because again, I'm a firm believer as well, in which, the first step towards learning something, it's, not understanding, it's recognizing that you're ignorant about something. Because if you recognize that you don't really know something in particular, and again, it's coming from, I'm ignorant about this, which we all are about so many different things, like, that's the first step towards learning something, because you first have to recognize, there's a gap in your knowledge, and then you can, okay, so teach me, I want to learn, or then you go and you like look it up, whatever. But my point is that you have to know, it's coming from a place of ignorance, as in, I know that I do not know enough about this. And it's fine, great. No one's going to fault you if you don't know something, because we're all ignorant about so many different things. So this is not exactly about that, on principle, that's how it should be. But I'm talking about things that are genuinely, that you don't know something specific about. And this also goes again to another culture. It's coming from a place of, oh, I'm sorry, teach me more. I don't really know more about this. Can you teach me? I don't know about your city, your language, or whatever, your culture. But some of these questions are just coming from a place of not even understanding of what's a different culture or how things are in other places in different countries. It's just about this really, and I think that's sorely a very American thing. There's this sort of, you're just like, it's stuck in 4 walls basically, and you don't really know there's something going on outside. This is how a lot of Americans operate, sadly. Again, blame the school system in a lot of places, which is not very good. Blame it on people's ignorance, and I think it's because, the United States, it's a really big country. All the cities are huge, all the towns are huge. Even though they're not necessarily big in population, they're just very far away from each other. They're very far from other places. So I think people tend to be a little bit more isolated, and they live inside their own bubble. They're inside 4 walls. So it's really hard, I think, sometimes for a lot of people to understand how that there's a whole different world out there. And I think a lot of people are just very ignorant, but it stems from a place of, again, you believe that your whole world are just like those 4 walls, which, again, that's not necessarily a good thing, to be honest. I think a lot of the places, in the rest of the world and other cities, countries, because this is like something that I've experienced and I've observed. Only this is like a very American thing. I think in other places, when people do not know, although Canada, to be honest, sometimes, I'm sorry not to get, they're catching straits, but Canada, there's some Canadians that also do this. I don't know what is it. It's like that area, that region of the world. It just makes it, I think, a little bit, and maybe it's because our countries are so big. And again, it's really easy, I think, to just get caught up. You just get, I don't know, you're caught up in the whole, I don't know, in your own little bubble, in your own little space. So it's really hard to see outside of this. I don't know what this is, a phenomenon that only occurs in these two places, but it is, again, it is the case, because other cultures, anything in other countries, are just a little bit more, as you may be, there's a bit of a misunderstanding, or you don't really know specifically how other people operate, how other cultures work, but there's still like the baseline, it just remains the same, because there are things that are not even about one's culture. It's just one about just being normal about things. It would be the equivalent of asking like, what's 2 plus 2? Like, it's just more universal truths, to put it that way. And again, it's just, maybe again, I have to blame the school system maybe. And I know up to a certain point, you kind of have to stop blaming the school system, and you have to really blame the people, because, you know, it's your own, you know, you can't fall prey to your own ignorance. You have to learn at some point, and maybe there is some curiosity there that maybe allows you to, I don't know, go open a book. You have the internet, like, go look it up. I don't know, see how other people in other places operate. And again, not even how other places operate. Just go and understand that you're not the center of the world, which I know it can be a really hard thing, you know, in this case, specifically for the US, because the US is everywhere. It permeates every single other culture, you know, look at the news, the US is constantly on them. And again, it's because the US is a huge country, it's a global superpower, so it's hard to like escape from this. So you can maybe, I understand why you may feel sometimes like, oh, I'm in the center of the world, because in some ways you kind of are, but at the same time, no, you know, everyone's in their main character in their own little, in the film of our lives, basically. So again, some of these things are just, come on, you know, I can't really blame anyone but you. There's no excuse for like being this ignorant. Because there are some things that I can maybe excuse a little bit. I think, for instance, the food one, I think maybe that's coming from a place of actual, I don't really know how, you know, like they said, oh, like, our pretzels good here, or the weird Americanized versions of what we have here, the same, or authentic German food. Yes, I mean, I understand those are not, she found it really, she was like, I'm upset about this. And of course, it's a very personal thing. I wouldn't really, it's like, well, yeah, but I think I can excuse that. It's not really that bad. It's really coming from a place of wanting to know, oh, do they do things different over there? Are pretzels different over there? Or do you eat schnitzel every day? Do you eat potato salad? Well, maybe, yes, you know, they'll lie. They'll say no, but it's true. They do eat a lot of potato salad. But, you know, my point is that those kind of things can be a little bit excused. And it's just like, you can tease them about it. It's just like a lighthearted teasing. But there are others in which it's just, what? Like, how do you even graduate high school or elementary school? The ones about, how do you, like, do you speak German? It's, well, what other language would I speak? Like, yes, of course. I just told you I was born and raised there. So it's kind of like really, really stupid. Like, those are one of the questions where I am offended on her behalf, because it's like the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. Or the other, which is, you know, the other that to me, it's the absolute worst, the worst offense, because it's not even necessarily like what you bring blocks, maybe, like, again, the time zone thing. It's maybe people tend to, because again, it's not about forgetting or anything. It's just not knowing how, because this is not even about countries. This is not even about cultures. This is simply about, I don't know, just understanding science, life. Again, did you even pass elementary school? I think they teach you this when you're like maybe less than 10 years old. How time zones work. Literally, like, they teach kids this, like 8-year-olds, to understand this better. How come you, an adult, doesn't understand this? Especially if you're in a place that has different time zones. Because if you're in a country or in a place that for some reason doesn't have different time zones, I would understand maybe you're a little bit confused by this, although not to the point where you would think, oh, you're from the future. No, it's like, it's the same, like, have you ever traveled, you know, outside of the US? Have you ever gotten on a plane and time zones are different? Like, I don't know, maybe not the wrong thing. A lot of Americans, that's the thing, don't really have, you know, they haven't really traveled overseas, so they don't really understand this. But again, within your own country, you have different time zones. So how come you don't understand the concept of it's just a different thing? But it's not, doesn't mean that people are living in the future. Like, what do you think? Like, are you living in a magical reality? This people gotta be, maybe it's a joke, right? You gotta be, I don't know, do you believe in magic? Like, this is not really a normal person wouldn't ask those things. This is what I'm getting at. Like, if someone asked me this, I would either believe they were being, you know, they were making a joke. It's a joke, kind of silly joke, but a joke, maybe like a dad joke. Or maybe they were not right in the head, because it would be, what do you think time travel is real? Like, what? This is so, like, again, my mind cannot even comprehend this. And this is like, I'm offended on her behalf. I'm just like, my mind cannot wrap around the fact that people do not understand this. Because again, you're coming from a place that also gets it. So you should be able to understand the concept of different time zones, because again, even 8-year-olds understand this. So how do you, an adult that presumably has gone through, has some education, even, and I'm not talking about like, this is not quantum physics, like this is normal things. So I'm just like, I cannot even, like, this is the worst, one of the worst things I've ever heard. Again, I wouldn't even know what to say to this. It's like, what? I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't know what she answered, because it's, what? No. What do you think? Like, what? Again, my mind cannot even comprehend this. This is so, and again, I'm wondering if maybe it's the case that people understand how it is and how it works in the US, but with the minute that someone tells you they're, oh, you know, I'm from Germany, it's, you know, rain short circuits and does this thing where it's like different time zones, future, what hour, it's like, it's the same. But I think maybe it would be my only sort of reasonable explanation. That is not even a good excuse, but it's what I would assume. Maybe people got confused, which again, it's quite like the silliest and the most stupidest thing ever. But maybe it happens. Maybe people just, for another country, things work different. It's like, no, we all live in the same, you know, planet Earth, which, you know, rules of physics still apply. So, you know, this is insane. And I can't even, it's going to take me a long time to get over that question, because seriously, one of the most stupidest questions I've ever heard someone ask another, which I'm like, I can't believe this is real. Seriously, I have to stop thinking about this. And that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.